Oh boy. Okay, looks like we're live. Great. I'm doing this vlog pretty late in the day. It's been. Ugh, I don't even feel like talking. Maybe I'll do something else. I don't feel like singing. I don't feel like drawing. I don't feel like stuff. I just feel like there's constantly more to do. There's constantly things that I have to take care of. It's like the world can't just stop giving me stuff to do. But, I would rather be busy than not. Um I don't know, just used to be so simple because parents would take care of everything, and now you had to think of money, you had to think about people being upset at you, you had to think about where your next meal is coming from, you had to think about jobs and everything like that. Just makes you wonder if that's the way childhood is supposed to be, or is that just the way that childhood has evolved in a society such as ours that kids don't have to worry? I mean, like what Oliver Twist, there was like workhouses and stuff, and kids were constantly, working in mills and losing limbs and everything like that. And now it's so weird. Like a teacher can't even criticize a student without, administration and parents getting on them. But just not I'm not saying I want to be responsible or anything like that, but um I think that I think that it's something that kids don't. I mean, they do expect. I mean, they see their parents running around. I'm ranting about stupid stuff right now. All I'm saying is I just wish that at the end of the day you could just go to sleep, and you can't just go to sleep because someone's always messaging you about something, and then you know your partner or your significant other ends up getting upset that you are ignoring them because you are occupied with something else, and then that causes issues, and then just everyone has their own stuff that's they're getting upset about. And not upset, no one's always getting upset, but I just feel like, to be an adult means to just constantly be ready to have to do something. And that's fine. I don't mind having to always do something, but I just got to do it the way I got to do it anyway. So that's what's on my mind right now. But uh, in other words, that's just normal. That's just day to day stuff. Ever since it's weird because like I don't think I'm working any more or less than when I was teaching. Just now, there's people like to find adults like to blame things. Like one thing that I think I talked about this yesterday or the day before, but everyone's always pointing fingers in school systems. You can't actually get a kid in trouble. You can't actually give a kid detention unless you have proof. Um, you can't actually get a teacher fired unless you have proof. Well, you know, public opinion often can play into that, and the proof can be something as like a private Facebook photo of you drinking wine in Italy, and some kid from your school district sees it and then shares it on social media or something, and then you're screwed. Um, but I don't know. Just these last few months, it doesn't feel like I'm growing at all, which is a little disheartening. Um, but that's also a me thing. Like, what is growth? Is growth posting to your social media every single day and then making sure you're on top of your emails? Does growth mean that you're going to the gym? I mean, like, the literal definition of growth is to get bigger and stronger at something. um but growth is something that I want to be doing constantly. However, I don't know. I don't really actually have an answer about, am I growing? As far as what I do, I mean, I have a ton of virtual correspondence that I have to do. I have to, be ready to respond to people as they message me. I have to be ready to give instructions for something, like whatever it is. There's always just more coming up, but it doesn't feel like growing. It feels like plugging up a leaking ship. Um, and not, but I at the same time I don't feel like I'm sinking either. I don't know if I'm sinking. That's the problem is that I think one of the benefits of having an employer is that they can tell you if you're sinking or if you're floating. And then once you're doing one of those things, then you can grow and get better at what you do. But I mean, is growth just repetition and getting faster and stronger at one thing? I mean, like, I guess like going to the gym or something like that. I could work my biceps every single day. It doesn't feel any different every day, but slowly but surely, like your biceps are getting bigger, and you can slowly but surely start lifting more and things like that. But you never notice it until months after. And so, maybe I'm gonna look back on my last 2 months of being self-employed and say, yeah, I got a lot done. But maybe I won't. I'm not entirely sure. Um, all I do know is that no matter even if though I work virtually, I could go anywhere I wanted to right now. But the fact of the matter is that I don't, and that kind of bugs me. I'm making plans to go up north this summer, and I'm excited for that. But I've always been the kind of person. I remember when I was living in the state of New Hampshire, like I would have a theater show I was directing in Derry. Then I would work at a bar in Area 20 in Concord called Area 23. Shout out to Kirk if he's watching this. I don't think he is, but shout out to him. And then I was also going to Plymouth State University, so I had three different places, all miles away from each other. So like, but and there was Derry down near Massachusetts, and then you had Concord right here, and then above that was Plymouth. And I would say Area 23 was probably like 45 minutes in between Derry and Plymouth. Um, so it's kind of like the halfway point. And one thing that I always noticed is that whenever I was at Plymouth, I wanted to go to either Concord or Derry. When I was in Concord, I either wanted to go to Plymouth or Derry. When I was in Derry, I either wanted to go to Concord or Plymouth. I think one of my problems is that when I think about growth, not growth. I need to distract myself with going places. I need to feel like I'm physically altering something that I can see. And when I travel somewhere, that kind of sedates that need uh to be doing something. I could be doing the same stuff. I mean, like right now, doesn't matter where I am. I can use my computer, I can use my tablet, I can use my phone, and I'm doing the same kind of work. Digital nomadism is something that I strive to have, and it's crazy because like once I have it, then I'm just doing the same thing but somewhere else. And I haven't traveled everywhere in the world, but I've traveled to a lot of places. And one thing I can tell you is that, you know, checking your emails in Southern California is the exact same feeling as checking it in Beijing, China. There really is no difference, just who you're talking to and whether or not they respond to you. So, what's this have to do with growth? So, growth is something that I don't know if I'm doing, and that bothers me immensely. At the very least, what I should be doing is I should be still like actively doing the things on my to-do list. Like I guess that's why I like planners, is because planners will allow me to, make a list and check off the list as I go. But and so like I could go through an entire week and check off everything. This is done. This is done. This is done. All going through my to-do list and getting the things done. And then you turn the page to next week, and then my entire to-do list is filled up again. Um, and it doesn't I wouldn't say it doesn't let me celebrate the victories, but it definitely it just replaces the things to do with more things to do. It's a never ending cycle, and if you stop doing it, then the consequences that everyone will forget about you and that you have to go on, like, no, humans take pleasure and comfort in the idea of being remembered for absolutely no reason, and they think that that's true until you do leave, and then you realize that everyone will forget you. Um, you know, I guess I strive not to do that to people. I strive to, if someone's important to me, I keep them around. Um, and but I think on the very first vlog of this, I talked about how adults are more likely to look for reasons to be someone's enemy than they are to be someone's friend. And I think that all stems from like when we get into college, when we start, becoming self sufficient adults, is that we look for the people in our lives who are going to make our lives easier and provide benefit for us. And, that's nothing revolutionary. That's what tribes have always done. When people are part of a tribe, they work towards something, they team up and try to get something done. And if you're not on the same team, then we're not hanging out, and then there's going to be conflicting goals between the two people or whatever. um and adults tend to not want to deal with those other kind of situations when people aren't on your side. And that's sad, but it's also just how the world works, I guess. So once again, I'm just ranting. I don't know exactly what I'm saying. I think I'm trying to talk about growth and how I think I am growing, but it's so infuriating to not know it. Um, like is responding to someone that I work with and saying, "Hey, we need something urgent." Like, is that growth, or is that just some mindless thing that is going to keep people from like getting upset at you for not doing the thing? Um, So yeah, growth. Growth is a thing that at least, and that's probably one of the reasons I want to go back to school so badly, is because I don't even know what I want to go for in school, which is a terrible way to justify an investment like college. Um, but having someone to tell you that you're growing constantly, um, and for your own purpose, like the thing with employers is that they can tell you if they're growing, if you are growing and securing your place in the organization that will make more money for everyone, including you. Then that's one way to look at growth, I suppose. But with something like college or some kind of trading school, or whatever it is, something that it is deliberately meant to improve you, that is something where you can feel like you are growing. Yeah, school is for growing. Employment is for maintenance of the company. Um, and I'm not necessarily trying to make that sound like jobs are bad. I mean, although like I'd rather work for myself than a boss any day. But uh, it's definitely hard to tell if you are growing when you are self-employed. It's definitely hard to tell if you are growing when no one's keeping tabs on you. When I mean, people keep tabs on me, but it's more of me having to insist that I bring value to someone's life. And that's exhausting. That is exhausting to constantly have to reprove yourself every single day to make sure that people don't forget about you. Um, it's a very competitive world that we live in. One of the reasons that I mean, Serious AI, it's a musical cartoon that we've made with our animation group. If you've heard of it, then great. If you haven't, whatever, go check it out. Actually, no, not whatever. It's a good cartoon. Like, go check it out. But everyone has that ability to do that now, and so it's so hard to make those passion projects a real thing, and so it's so hard to stick out when it comes to that. And so like I can be doing all this work day in and day out trying to get acknowledged and remind people that I exist, and everyone's doing it. And unfortunately, I can't blame the people that are in the audience because they only have a limited amount of attention span. So we're all just pitted against each other. So anyway, I'm coming up on 20 seconds left, but the whole point of this rant, I didn't go into it wanting to talk about this, but I ended up talking about it, is the difference between growth and just trying not to have people forget about you. Um, it might be a very simplified way of thinking about it, but that's where I'm at today. So until tomorrow.